New Testament talks about God as a God of universal love. And we've managed to separate them. We've managed to separate matter from energy. And we're surprised that the whole thing doesn't work. So let me go to my favorite place in the whole Bible to see what this God is like that we're talking about. It's Psalm 82. And if you're thinking, can I come up with something from the New Testament at least? No, because here is where you see most clearly in this psalm a God worth living for, and if ever necessary, worth dying for. Or a program, if you prefer. And I love it because, first of all, it's short. You get on through the whole thing without being here till tomorrow. And secondly, there's so much bully stuff in the Bible. I'm the only God, there's no other God. You want to, yeah, we got it by Genesis. It's all right. We know it. It's just that we're not going to do it. But we know it. Here it's very serene and ironic. You imagine it from the Persian period. So in this psalm, you imagine God, like the Persian emperor. He's in heaven. Of course, he's not alone. He's surrounded by all the courtiers who run the world. It's God, the supreme God, surrounded by all the gods, the powers that be. Now, unfortunately, it's about downsizing. It's about a professional review of how the gods are doing. So taking out of that magnificent metaphor, it's how the powers that be are running the world. It's a performance review with upper management. And it's kind of a new solution to the problem of downsizing, firing upper management. You can learn a lot in the Bible about what you should do, can't you? So here's the story. God has taken his place in the divine council. In the midst of the gods he holds, judgment. It's a performance review. Here's the bill of particulars, the indictment of the powers that be, the gods whose job it is to run the world. How long will you judge unjustly, show partiality to the wicked, give justice to the weak and the orphan, maintain the right of the lowly and the destitute, rescue the weak and the needy, deliver them from the hand of the wicked? Now, that's a nice, clear bill of particulars. You guys blew it. Now, we see what's going to happen. But, first of all, 3 words in there. I want to focus on that word justice. Now, unfortunately, we have come in ordinary everyday speech to use justice to mean primarily, if not exclusively, retributive justice. Now, think for a second. You couldn't even have retributive justice unless the punishments were distributed fairly. So the primary meaning of justice, when it's said without any qualification, is of course distributive justice. You want to talk about punishment or anything else, justice means a fair distribution of whatever we're talking about. So that's the first thing. Never hear justice when it's said in the Bible without any qualifications as talking about retribution. That's what we do. So we have a Department of Justice which ain't into distribution. And what's it called? The Uniform Code of Military Justice, right? That's about punishments, basically, or sanctions at least. So we have transferred carefully distributive justice to mean retributive justice. We're very good. We're very clever. Then there's another word here. Give justice, maintain the right of the lowly and the destitute. Where did he get this idea that the lowly and the destitute have rights? That sounds terribly like entitlements. Now, of course, we should be kind, we should be generous, we should be charitable, almsgiving. Of course, that's all over the Bible. But where do we get this idea of rights? Seriously. I've touched on this, you remember, maybe the first lecture. Where did they get this idea that God was into rights? Remember, they got it from imagining the household. It's so simple, you almost are astonished you can't see it. Who would talk about, they wouldn't even use that. You wouldn't even talk about your children having rights. They'll tell you about that when they hit teenage, but that's different. You would think, you wouldn't even call it justice. What would you think of a household where some of the children were starving and some were overfed? That's what absolutely horrifies the Bible, really. Because they're thinking of their own experience in a well-run household, as I said, and they're thinking of God as simply the householder of the word house. It's so ferociously simple. Of course they have rights, everyone, to get a fair share. That's why Jesus tells people, if you are really in the household of God, then you address God as Abba. It's hard to translate this without trivializing it, but for example, when I married Sarah, I waited until her parents invited me to call them Mom and Dad. I would not have said it. When I'm in the family, you can address automatically your parents as Mom and Dad, Daddy, or whatever it was. Growing up in Ireland, my father was a bank manager. Most people didn't call him Daddy. I called him Daddy. So when Jesus says, call God Abba, that means you're already in the household. The two big metaphors that Jesus has are the household of God and the kingdom of God. And the kingdom of God is simply how the world should be run as a good household. So all of this has to do with right. That's where they get it from. It's so ferociously simple. It's not political rights or human rights or anything like that. That's all much more advanced. They're simply thinking of what does a well-run household look like? Everyone gets enough. In fact, it's not even egalitarianism, it's enoughism. Everyone gets enough. Of course you don't give the same to the youngest child and the eldest child. And if a kid needs special attention, the kid gets it, of course. And a mother pregnant gets special care. Of course, all of that is taken for granted. You wouldn't even call it justice. You wouldn't even call it right. You'd call it proper. I don't know what you'd even call it. That's where they get it from. Now, what about this orphan? You keep hearing of orphans and widows and resident aliens all over the Bible. Are these some kind of particularly weak person? Isn't it true, as we all know, that widowers do much better than widowers? Couldn't you have a nice brawny orphan well able to take care of himself, let's say? Or a resident alien? I lived in this country for most of my life as a resident alien. I didn't run into any trouble, except I couldn't vote. But if you live in Florida, it makes no difference in any case. Because we don't count those values. So these are the categories of vulnerability in their society. If you're in a patriarchal society, the widow is somebody you can get at. Or the orphan who doesn't have a father, that's what it means, you can get at. And if you're in the tribal society, the resident alien, you can shaft them and get away with it. These are their vulnerable ones, which means, of course, that whoever our vulnerable ones are, these are the ones under special divine protection. Under, if you prefer, special protection by evolution. If you don't take care of those people particularly, there will be problems. All right, so justice, orphan, and right. Now, okay, we're ready for the guys to make all the excuses. Oh, we were so busy, and we were very sorry, and we did better next time, and we. They have neither knowledge nor understanding. They walk around in darkness. They don't even get it. It's like, who brought up this justice stuff? It's about power. Where in the job description is justice? They don't even get it. No excuses. They walk around in darkness. And then comes this line in the whole Bible, the most important line in the entire Bible, Old New Testament, and any other testaments you can find around. This is a line you should write on your bathroom mirror, so it's the first thing you see every dreary, bleary-eyed dawn. It should be written across our domestic programs and our foreign policies. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. There's not a word about, boy, you guys are going to get it. I'm going to punish you. None of that stuff. In fact, we're waiting for it. They don't know what's going on. Injustice shakes the foundations of the earth. Nothing about it annoys God, or it displeases God, or is against the commandments. If injustice shakes the foundations of the earth, then of course justice is the foundation of the earth. And then it goes on, and you're still waiting for some punishment. You are God's, children of the Most High, all of you. Nevertheless, you shall die like mortals and fall like any. There's no punishment. Just these gods become obsolete. Gods of power die. Just die with the power that supports them. Like the legions of Rome or the phalanxes of Alexander. When they die, Zeus is dead. Jupiter is dead. Nobody kills them. They just die of boredom. How could you kill a God of justice? You would have to have killed the thirst for justice that is in every human heart. A God of justice doesn't die. Now, this is what justice means in the Bible. But that's the matter. Where is the energy that drives it? That's love. If you separate matter and energy, justice and love, you don't get either, you get neither. That's what has happened to us. Think of it. Think of it, how often groups who are committed to distributive justice end up slaughtering one another. Especially all you people who aren't getting with the program. Why does justice keep going wrong? And why is love, which is the most magnificent word in the English language, so empty that it has to apply to your favorite candy bar and the soulmate of your life? Wow, that's a stretch. We have to use love for your favorite football team and for God Almighty if you happen to make a distinction between them. Okay? That's an awful stretch. So we've emptied this word. It has no content. So justice goes wrong, love goes empty. Of course, because we've separated them. You can't do it. Think of a human being, body and soul. We say flesh and blood. What happens when you separate them? You don't get either, you get a corpse. We have separated justice, distributive justice, and universal love, and we have got neither. If we do not bring them back together again, we will never get either. Student years ago, just in the late 40s, in Donegal, St. Eunan's College in Letterkenny, we learned all sorts of poetry by heart, Irish poetry, English poetry. John Keats' Ode on a Grecian Urn. Ode on a Grecian Urn. The last line, the urn speaking. Beauty is truth, truth is beauty. That is all you know on earth and all you need to know. So I'd like to propose Ode on a Biblical Urn. Justice is love. Love is justice. That is all we know on earth and all we need to know.